prison room was cold and quiet. The light above flickered softly, filling the space with an uneasy glow. A man sat alone on a narrow bed wearing an orange uniform. His hands trembled as he stared at the floor. His eyes looked empty, not because he felt nothing, but because he had already felt too much. By the next morning, his life was supposed to end. This was his final night on Earth. When a guard asked if he wanted a last request, the man surprised everyone. He did not ask for special food. He did not ask to see family. He did not ask for mercy. He asked to see his dog one last time. A retired police dog who had once worked beside him. The only living soul who had ever trusted him without doubt. The guards whispered to each other. Some found the request strange, some thought it was pointless, but the request was approved. What no one expected was that this meeting would change everything. Early that morning, the prison woke in silence. Execution days always felt different. Even the guards walked slower. Their footsteps echoed through the hall like a ticking clock. At the end of the hallway sat the man, calm and still. He was not crying. He was not shouting. He was simply waiting. His name was Ethan. Years ago, people used to call him a hero. He was a police officer, a K-9 handler, a man respected by his department. But now he was known only as an inmate waiting to die. Ethan sat quietly, his thoughts far away. He remembered a time when he wore a badge, a time when he was never alone, a time when a German shepherd named Ranger walked beside him every day. Ranger was not just a dog, he was his partner, his protection, his family. When officials arrived to prepare Ethan for his final hours, they asked again if he wanted anything else. Ethan shook his head. He wanted only one thing: to see Ranger. Outside the prison, a vehicle approached the gates. Inside was the old police dog. Ranger was slower now. His fur had turned grey. His body carried the marks of past battles, but his eyes were sharp. He remembered more than anyone realized. Years earlier, Ethan and Ranger were known as the best team in the city. They searched dark buildings together. They saved lives together. They trusted each other completely. Ranger had once saved Ethan from an attacker during a dangerous mission. That bond was unbreakable, but everything ended one night inside an old warehouse. That night, another officer died during a raid. Ethan was found at the scene. His weapon had been fired. There were no witnesses, and Ranger was barking wildly at Ethan when other officers arrived. To everyone watching, it looked like the dog was accusing his own handler. Ethan said he was innocent. He said someone else was there. He said Ranger saw the truth. But no one listened. The evidence pointed at him. The public turned against him. The department needed someone to blame. Ethan became that person. He lost his badge, his freedom, his future. Ranger was taken away and retired, and Ethan was sent to prison. Years passed, and now, on the day of his execution, Ranger was finally coming back. When Ranger entered the room, everything felt tense. Ethan's heart raced. He expected his dog to run toward him, to recognize him instantly. But that did not happen. Instead, Ranger stopped. His body stiffened. A low growl filled the room. The guards froze. Ethan's breath caught in his chest. This was not how it was supposed to be. Ranger did not show anger. He did not show fear. He showed alertness, the same behavior he used when he sensed danger. Ranger slowly circled Ethan, sniffing the air carefully. His movements were focused, controlled. The guards watched in silence. This was not an attack. This was investigation. Ranger stopped near Ethan's shoulder and barked sharply, one clear alert. The sound echoed through the room. A handler stepped forward and examined Ethan's shoulder. Hidden beneath his clothing was an old wound, a deep mark that had never been fully examined. It was not a bullet wound. It was a stab wound. The room went silent. Suddenly, memories rushed back into Ethan's mind. The warehouse, the darkness, a blade, pain in his shoulder, a voice whispering threats. Someone else had attacked him that night. Ranger barked again. He was not accusing Ethan. He was telling the truth. Ethan had been attacked, not the attacker. The guards exchanged nervous looks. The officials realized something was very wrong. Ranger turned his attention toward one of the guards standing nearby. His posture changed. His growl deepened. He barked again, this time with urgency. The handler understood immediately. Ranger was identifying a familiar scent, a scent connected to that night. The guard panicked. His face went pale. Under pressure, the truth began to spill out. He admitted there were others involved. A secret operation, corruption inside the department. Ethan had walked in at the wrong moment and became the perfect person to blame. Another officer in the room reacted badly. Ranger suddenly turned toward him and lunged. The guards restrained the man as Ranger continued barking. The truth was now impossible to ignore. The execution was stopped immediately. Ethan's handcuffs were removed. For the first time in years, his hands were free. He dropped to his knees and hugged Ranger tightly. The dog pressed his head against Ethan's chest, letting out a soft sound of relief. Ranger had remembered everything. Investigations began at once. Confessions were recorded. Evidence was re-examined. Ethan's conviction was overturned. Later that morning, Ethan walked out of the prison through the front gate, not as a prisoner, but as a free man. Ranger walked beside him. When reporters asked what he planned to do next, Ethan looked down at his dog and smiled softly. He said he was going home. Wherever that was, as long as Ranger was with him. This story reminds us that truth does not disappear. Sometimes it waits. Sometimes it lives in memory. And sometimes it survives through loyalty. Everyone else turned away. But one dog never forgot.